but I will go over a few things. On February 8th, we are having our CBTF USDA combined choreography webinar, and that's really going to be I think quite interesting, because it's looking at not only just the building blocks of choreography, but it's really going to be addressing choreography from both a judging perspective, how you evaluate taste and sophistication, and we're also looking at sort of the thread that holds everything together, and what are some of the differences in baton between, you know, choreography we often think of as a very creative process. But when you are choreographing in baton, like many other artistic sports, there's a number of things that have to be addressed. And how does your choreography change for an event where you're on the floor, literally 5 or 6 feet from the judge, versus when you're choreographing for a routine, for an individual routine that will be viewed from the stands. So we've got a great panel put together here, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity. So that will be, you'll need to register for that, and that's going to be on Sunday, February 8th. This year, CBTF is also looking for a new ICUP team manager, and applications for that will be due February 28th. So check the CBTF website if you're interested in applying. This year, for those that weren't aware, we will be merging, as opposed to single age divisions for Canadians, the senior and collegiate athletes in level BN will compete in divisionals, just to have a bit more competition, and still they're of an age range and developmentally at a level where they are fair competitors for one another. As I mentioned earlier, the Pride of Canada Contingent Clinic is being moved to be on the last day of the ICUP qualifier, so it'll be held right in Winnipeg as opposed to this year in Oshawa. We are, however, planning a wonderful Pride of Canada Open Clinic like we do every year, and that will be held on the Thursday morning in Oshawa. New this year is, regardless of the size of the division, all ages and all skill levels will have a preliminary round at the Canadian Championship, Winter Championship event this year. We thought that that was really important in teaching, training athletes, not teaching them, but training them and getting them used to doing 2 good rounds. And it's really, you know, the fact that their divisions are small, by forcing them to go only to final round is not really a good training tool. Again, one of the reasons why, although adding a preliminary round for everybody was only going to add about another 2 hours to 2.5 hours to the overall competition day, it was another good reason to just finish the day a little bit earlier by, you know, 5, 6 p.m., let everybody go home, and just add 1 more day onto the competition. I had mentioned earlier, too, that we are having a course conductor training workshop at Canadians. The minimum age to compete at Canadians, this is the last year of our plan to slowly eliminate the level BN division for our primary and juvenile athletes, is this year. So this year you need to be 11 years of age as of December 31st, 2014 to compete in the Canadian Winter Championship event. Those athletes in the primary and juvenile division are encouraged and welcome to enter the Maple Leaf Open competition. Athletes who are 7 to 10 years of age are still eligible to compete as part of a group, a dance twirl or a team at the Canadian Winter Championship event. This year, so this will be the last year, and after this year there will be no more single age divisions for level BN juvenile athletes. Primary juvenile athletes who are level BI or level A will continue to have events offered for them at the Canadian Championships. So we've got some important dates here in the future. This is all posted and summarized as to when the provinces are hosting their provincial championships, as well as we have a plan up till 2019 that will be posted as to where Canadians will be held and where the qualifier or the trials will be held up until that date. So that brings me to the end of our webinar. Are there any questions? Is there anything that we missed that people are saying, gee, I'm surprised they didn't discuss that. I'm kind of disappointed. I wish they would have spent some time. because this would be a wonderful time to raise your hand and bring it up before we sign off for the evening.
Okay, well, while people are typing those questions in, there were two that I missed earlier. One was from Megan Pryle. Do we know how soon the level 3 coaching course update will be completed?
The level 3, we're hoping to have a package ready for presentation at the fall conference.
Okay, and then from Stephanie, and this was dealing with the CPED program. Is there an appeal process for those that cannot complete the credits for medical reasons, et cetera? For example, unable to coach because of an injury, but does not want to lose their certification?
Well, because you have 3 years to complete it, again, as Joanne said, it's really too soon to say because we don't have, right now, we know why we want it, and we haven't really looked, it's not intended to be a punitive process. It's intended to be one that recognizes and rewards and encourages coaches, adjudicators, and judges to continue on. So this is, again, my personal opinion, unless you had an injury that extended for 3 years, there's lots of opportunity to fulfill your requirements. So, it's not a 1-year process. You would be able to catch up. And what it might look like for anyone who's unable to fulfill the requirements has yet to be determined. But, as Joanne said, it might be some sort of recertification or retraining or so on. But I don't think we're anywhere close to that. Because the program is meant to be positive and encouraging as opposed to a top-down approach, heavy-handed and looking for ways to squish people down. Rather, it's intended to build them up and let them look at creative ways of developing themselves and the people around them.
Elaine, I had one question from somebody.
Okay.
It was going back to that extended music. There was questions about what about the levels that are not using the extended portion of the music but continues to twirl. What do the judges do? When we only had one level of time, which was 145, and they didn't quite finish at the end, and obviously we're coming to their final trick or something, we most likely would look at that point. If it extends for too long of a period, then most likely we should be putting our heads down and going on and developing that so that we're just not getting extended solos, and yet in their level it's supposed to be within the 145. So when we hear that ding, just a couple seconds afterwards, of course, you would try, that they're coming to the finals. And then the same thing would be, I guess, when you go by the extended time. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot longer solos going on the levels that aren't supposed to be. I think that is correct, right?
Yeah, no, and I think we did speak to that point that, it's just a courtesy, but you will lower your head. And, there's a difference between a February 7th competition and one that's later. Everybody's the first one of the season, but no, you're not supposed to reward material completed after the end of the music. So
we're not giving those extra credits when that happens. Yeah.
No.
Correct.
So on that note, we're going to actually close the webinar for this evening, and I hope you were able to find some parts useful for you and get you better prepared for the season. The entire PowerPoint presentation will be posted on the CBTF website. We value your opinion and encourage you to contact us and let us know what you think, which areas were helpful for you, which areas were too rushed, what should have, were there areas that you felt we should have covered that weren't covered. We would very much value your feedback. So I hope everyone has a great season, and I'm very excited for what's going to be really a wonderful year for CBTF with the national events that we're hosting and the international events and the Grand Prix. Such an important time for Canada and the sport of baton twirling. And I thank all of you for the important work that you're doing provincially, and can hardly wait to see all of you either at the qualifier or the Canadian Championships. So thanks everyone, and good night.